Hey Soul Tribe, it's that time of the year. Time to look into what could be going on for you guys in the year of 2025. First of all, are you done with 2024? I certainly am done with this particular year. How has your year been? Because it seems as though a lot of folks have been dealing with conflict, setbacks, a lot of confusion. Chances are you've been dealing with this feeling like you're trying to do everything you're supposed to be doing, but why isn't it all working out? It feels like 2024 could have been a little bit of a conspiracy against you, but I want to encourage you during this time that regardless of however 2024 manifested for you, all of these setbacks, these shifts, even the synchronicities, everything has been orchestrated in such a way so that you can get onto your divine path. So, we're gonna go through the zodiac. We're gonna go from Aries to Pisces, and we're gonna be looking at some key components. We'll break it down by each quarterly part of the year. And then we'll also ask what it is you're going to be experiencing when it comes to your money, your finances, your career. We'll also inquire about your relationships. Are they good? Are they bad? Well, we're going to find out, and where you're going to be on the spiritual path. But overall, I am encouraged. I do have the card of manifest. You guys are in this lovely position where you have set aside a previous version of yourself and have gotten so much better at observing your reality. I've talked about 2024 being the year of observation. If your world were a movie script, what's the story you're trying to tell? Because we go into 2025, it is the year of transparency. Just see people for who they are. It's time for us to get out of this idea that we need to over compromise and overcomplicate our relationships. So, just a quick sort of a taster to see of things to come before we dive in. Got Dare to Dream. Even if it feels as though a lot of the things that you have experienced are anti manifestations, as though things were taken away, trust that those things were taken away for your greatest and highest good. A lot of destruction is happening around you. Allow the buildings to fall, allow the bridges to crumble, and just trust that you are moving into something way more divine. You're going to become way more empowered over this year. Your creativity is going to be going up tenfold when you're no longer held back by the way that other people perceive you. You're limitless. You're no longer adhered to the idea of a glass ceiling, and you're going to be able to get wild, get out of your bubble. And in a lot of ways, I feel as though for the collective, you guys are going to be able to start overcoming some particular blind spots. Let's get one more movement. No matter how it is that this year has gone for you, it was all to create movement to go forward. I just saw 3:33 on the clock. So I got the timestamps below for all of the zodiac signs. You can go by your sun, moon, rising, and or Venus. Let's dive in. Welcome in, Cancer. What is it that the Cancerian collective will be able to look forward to in the year 2025? But I feel like intuitively as I tune into what Cancer could be looking forward to, like you guys are going to be on a roll. I feel as though Cancerians, like you're just going to be encouraged to keep moving forward. Don't look back. You know, you may have been second guessing a lot of things that have been going on within your life, but oh, I cannot emphasize to you enough how much God has had your back. The universe has had your back. However 2024 might have gone for you, I feel as though you guys are just ready to let it go. Okay, fine, moving forward. It is what it is. But there is an ask right now to really honor what actually happened to you for this particular year. And maybe it wasn't that bad of a year for you, but I feel as though Cancerians were gonna be given this opportunity to sink into your emotions. There's a lot of Cancerian themed energy that's going to be going on mid-year, and it's one of these things where can you just take advantage of your natural gifts and abilities? Because after I go to cut, got the card of fear, and it's sort of like playing King of the Hill. It's as though I'm sorry to accuse you of this, but it's this feeling like there there's been these challenges going on where I'm afraid more than you. This is really weird and interesting, but there's a lot of stuff that you have been afraid of, but it's one of these things where once you actually look down, you realize, oh wait, I've already conquered my fear. It could be a little bit of this little wily coyote, like Red Runner, goes across the air as though it was effortless. Coyote runs off the cliff, and it's just this moment of doodle whoop whoop whoop. There's an ask for you to really get some momentum for this particular year. Don't let fear hold you back. Don't slow your momentum, but make sure you're still finding the balance so that you're not skipping over important emotions. So, I'm going to be breaking up this reading into 4 quarters, and we'll be looking at what are the themes of each of those quarters. How is it that the universe will be guiding you during this phase within your life? And we'll also take a little bit of some astrological aspects into account. But for Q1, where we have January, February, March, the North Node moves into Pisces. And the North Node does ask you to have a little bit of a look at where does you want to go on your personal destined path. Pisces is the end of the astrological calendar. It's the ultimate enlightenment and epiphany and just feeling good about moving forward. But for you guys, got the card of self-interest. It's so unusual being within Cancer's frequency. So far, you feel like nothing else with the other signs that I've channeled so far, and I suddenly got really dizzy. The other signs have been dealing with headaches, this pressure upon their crown. But I feel for Cancerians, there's a little bit of a risk of floating away and losing yourself. It's going to be so important to stay anchored during this time. I feel like for the first quarter of 2025, um, I feel like there are going to be people in your world that they're going to have you be on board with something, and then they're just going to take everything for themselves. It's difficult. I feel very discouraged. Now, given that the theme seems to be fear, and I'm hearing overcoming fear, and I'm also seeing the card of overcoming grief and loss, Cancerians, you more than likely have been trying to really protect yourself from a bad thing from happening. But it's this catch 22 where you've been so vigilant trying to protect yourself, protect your energy, that you've actually been missing some key details on your journey. Because if we look at the crow right here and we see the mouse, and the way that the oracle card tells the story is, hey, why don't you come and help me hunt for mice and we can split the bill, kind of thing. And then the person just takes off with the whole thing and leaving you with the bill. It's sort of like, worst first date ever. I will be mildly amused on my own, in my own case, that if this actually happens for you. But this energy is very difficult to communicate with, because I keep feeling like what? There might be some setbacks, and I'm sorry to say, it's kind of like the first quarter of 2025. It could be your worst fear ever manifesting. Yikes. Okay, we got Four of Swords. I am being encouraged to cut this. Like, rest. It's okay. There there is a lot of support for you, and there's a lot of enlightenment and making sure that you're taking care of yourself to rest your mind, rest your body, so that you don't agitate yourself into fear will be very key in order to make sure that the rest of 2025 is a success for you. But after I go to got the card of judgment. I feel as though you've been worried about people judging you, but in this card, it's a death rebirth energy. You're actually getting ready to become the real you. 2025 is inviting a lot of people in the world to stop worrying about material considerations and starting to honor oneself. But my solar plexus right now feels blocked and locked up. And let's get some cards here. Ooh, like what is this, Cancer? What is it that you've been facing? Because when we got the Page of Swords, and I feel confused. This is going to be a very unusual first quarter for Cancer, especially if you feel like you have aligned yourself to the right people. But I feel like there's a lot of double talking, and you may notice that certain people that you might have entrusted yourself to, it's sort of, oh, I hate this feeling. Have you ever had it where somebody's personality just flips and they change? There's this feeling as though the people who you thought you knew aren't really them. Yikes. Like, and also I got this like back pain wanting to present itself. Knight of Cups. This is more likely a romantic relationship, someone that you have shared some, like, this is a very passionate energy. Like, Cancerians, you're like, one of your many gifts is just being able to reflect that wonderful, lovey energy. Like, you're such a nurturing, wonderful, compassionate frequency. And I feel as though you've been doling out your love to the wrong people. And I think you've been trying to exercise a little bit of your air energy. It's like, well, okay, if they're like this, well, maybe there's a reason. Maybe there's something wrong with me. Is it technically them? Like, I feel like you have been very good natured during this time, but we got King of Wands. Okay. Like, it's going to be important for you to be very kind to yourself in the first quarter, Cancer. Somebody within your midst, they're just going to show themselves for who it is that they actually are. We've talked about 2024 being the year of observation, just observing people for who they are. If your life is a movie, how can you observe it as an outside version of yourself? But there's some plot twist that you might be experiencing in the first quarter of 2025, and you need to see how someone has been, I'm hearing, forcing their hand. This is sort of like an emperor energy where they may have come into your life acting as though they have all the answers. They're going to give you all of your heart's dreams and desires. Everything, all your wishes will come true. And notice how my voice gets really high pitched as we go into this a little bit more. There's an illusion in a relationship that it needs to be seen for what it is. And I'm sorry, this is someone that you have loved. This could be a family member, this could be a romantic situation, this could be like a bestie. It's up to each of you to discern who this could be, but this does start off with some self-interested action by this person or these people, because I am noticing there are a few people that might be involved with this. Um, just be cautious of gossip. And notice how I had such a difficult time trying to communicate as I was trying to just get into Q1. I have noticed a little bit of language interference with the other energies. Yours is the most challenging, and Cancerian energy is receptive. It's feminine energy, and there's going to be an ask for you to just sit back and observe, because if 2024 is about observation, 2025 needs to be about transparency. There's been an illusion of trust and divine kinglyship. It's sort of as though someone that you thought might have been a divine counterpart or the one, somebody that it's like, oh, wait, I can never see how things could ever go bad between us, and that illusion falling apart. I'm sorry to say, this is sort of like your worst nightmare coming true. It's kind of like with before I married my now ex-husband, my biggest fear was marrying a gay guy, and then I divorced my ex-husband because super gay. Like it's not exactly like that, but it's something along those particular lines, especially if your fear was being used and having your beautiful, compassionate, emotional energy being taken for granted. But let's keep moving forward because remember the theme when we were tuning into what the Cancerian experience will be for 2025, you will be on a roll. I know this is not a good start, but that doesn't mean that it needs to dictate the rest of your year. You need to move forward through this energy. The Chariot is Cancerian. It is about moving forward. You can't be looking behind you and expect to continue on in a straight line. So for the second quarter, where we have April, May, and June, Jupiter does move into Cancer during this period, and Neptune will also go into Aries. So a lot of the social planets and the outer planets will be going through a shift during this time. Jupiter does dictate how um you wish to expand yourself. And in some ways, I feel like for you, unveiling different versions of you, but there's this real ask for this year, like to be more thoughtful about your psyche and doing a lot of internal work. You've been doing a lot of work externally, but I feel like some of this might have come and bit you in the butt. And the only reason that you have to face a fear is because you haven't been willing to face it on your own. And the universe loves you so fucking much that it's really trying to show you an aspect of yourself that you've had a very difficult time seeing. But that said, what is the theme of Q2? Survival. It whatever shift that's happening within your relationships, it's putting you into a position to start rethinking, why am I in these relationships? If you notice that this is a reoccurring theme, like this isn't the first time this has ever happened to you, for example, why do you continue to repeat this particular loop? There's a habit that is being brought up to the surface during Q2 between April, May, and June that Cancer, you're being invited to look at it. Just because you're looking at it doesn't mean that the predator is going to find you, but I have to emphasize, I do hear the word predator, and I'm sorry to say that there is somebody within your midst that has seen you as more like a hot meal than a wonderful, loving partner, and it breaks my heart. Like, there's gonna be a lot of solar plexus and sacral shifting going on, especially if you notice changes within your sex drive. It's going to be important to make sure that you do stay in contact with your doctors, to make sure that you don't have something that's physically manifested that does require treatment. But there's a few of you where I feel as though you have utilized money, sexuality, creativity, and you know, sort of like staying in relationships just so you can keep the appearance as though you've got your shit together. Like, this is a good year for you. Please do not let yourself be discouraged during this time, Cancer. You're just being asked to be honest with your own emotions because you've been over identifying with the enemy. And for some of you are going to start noticing how you have aligned with a narcissistic energy. And it was a slow burn. It was a slow boil. In many ways, this person was very calculating in the way that they got into your life, got into your pants, got into your heart, and you're just being asked, can you just see it for what it is? Can you just allow the universe to be transparent with you so that you can see a version of yourself that's okay, that thinks it's okay to be treated this way? Because I feel like you guys are being gifted a chance to elevate and move up, but you have to get out of aligning with people who are self-interested, all in the name of your own personal sense of survival. Wow. Got Knight of Swords. This is an argumentative energy. And I feel as though you could be entering into a period of your life where things could accidentally become very competitive. I'm hearing acting as though your life depends on it. There's a healthier version of this that is not about succumbing in the name of survival. It's a little bit more that The life that you have embodied has not worked out. And if you're here and if you're resonating with this message, you want growth. You want something better. What do we have at the top? Got the card of the Hermit. This does confirm that there is something within you that thinks it's okay to align yourself with the enemy. And again, I have to say, aligning to a predator. I hate saying those words because it sounds awful and it sounds mean. But this energy does feel, again, a lot like when I was still with my ex husband, where I had a lot of friends telling me that I was in an abusive marriage. And I didn't want to believe it. Not because my relationship to my ex-husband was bad, and it had nothing to do with him being gay. He was just being mean to me. Like, you can be gay and nice. I know plenty of nice gay people. But it was this feeling like, if I am going to use this title of abuse, I better be 110% certain that I am using it correctly, because I feel as though while this is a fox, you may have been either accustomed to being told, accustomed being, wow, this is so difficult. Accused of crying wolf, accused of being an alarmist, or even being surrounded by people that I don't feel safe in this energy. I don't feel safe around you. This is a very hyperbolic kind of energy where it's like, I just can't even. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I really do apologize if this is someone that, you were sexually involved with and you realize they are not into your gender. I supremely apologize. I've been there. But with the Hermit, there's an ask within you to think about, why do I keep aligning with this type of personality? Or why are we just triggering each other all of the time? This could be a very triggering energy where it's like, I need to talk about what's actually going on. Well, I can't deal with it right now. There's this it's just drama, drama, drama going on. We got the World. You're at risk even in the second quarter of repeating a cycle. Like, when we see the World in this context, like, don't get me wrong, I love rewatching the same TV show over and over again. Maybe I should change it, maybe I shouldn't. But the World card is one of these moments where you've been through the story, you've been through all the drama, you've seen all the conquests have happened, and then the story ends and you have a choice. Go on to a different story, or would you like to repeat this all over again? Like, if you again are resonating with this, you want to break a cycle. So there's something that's coming up to the surface that's being asked to look at, so that you no longer get into the habit of aligning yourself to people who are self-interested, that they take from you and blame you for being upset that you didn't feel as though you got what you wanted out of a relationship. There we go, King of Cups. There's a chance within the second quarter of 2025 to really up your emotional maturity, recognizing that, wait, look, it's a very, it's almost Queen of Swords, but given that we have the Knight of Swords and a King of Cups, it manifests a little bit more as though, look, hey, I know you don't know this particular version of me, um, but I'm changing. I'm learning to become this type of person. It's a very calculated in the way you wish to express yourself. This energy has no problem hyping up your emotions, getting you into an anxious state, making you feel guilty for their emotions. This person is not emotionally mature, and they have no problem making you feel bad about their emotions. This is sort of the cycle where narcissists get upset and then they expect you to be upset with them because they confuse it for empathy. And Cancer, you're a very empathetic person, but I think during this time you're going to be going through a cycle where it's like, am I empathetic or am I just fucking pathetic? Do not succumb to self-loathing during this time. Your guides and your ancestors are really present right now. They are really here for you. They are cheering you on. What's going to go for Q3? We got July, August, and September, where we have autumnal equinox, but Uranus is going to be going into Gemini. And a lot of people during this time, they're going to be going through some mass awakenings. And I feel like for you, you'll be going through an awakening, and something about this is going to make it a lot easier for you to just communicate from the first person rather than over identifying with the other energies. What's the card? We got the card of routine. Like, there's actually just an ask during this period of time, just realizing you need to get onto a routine or change the routine. Like, whether if that is asking somebody to move out or restructuring how it is you wish to live your life. But there's something that this person has anticipated, habits, cycles, that when you change it up, they have nothing to work with. Like, there's a really neat sense of empowerment, Cancer, with just changing up the time you come home, the time you leave, the way that you communicate. It's not mean. It's you realizing where it is that you actually are within your life, being more mindful with where it is you want to go, and just realizing if this person wants to go along with you, so be it. But in some ways, it's it's a funny way of putting it, and it's not even mean. It's like they wouldn't want me to be enabled. This person is not interested in having me have a successful life. They count on me being dysfunctional. They count on me um going to these parties late at night. Like, I see the card of 42, and it's sort of like once you get into your 40s, like partying out until late into the night, it's just like I don't want to do that anymore. Like, some of this could be a little bit of like the midlife crisis energy, where you just kind of realize, oh, right, we're very different people. And however this is going to manifest for you, like you taking the honest upon yourself to have ownership with your routine, whether if that is taking care of yourself. I feel like Cancerians are going to be put into positions where they have to start taking better care of their own physical well-being, especially as we're going into, making remarks about getting older. Because if you're drinking too much, your liver gives out. When you're smoking too much, you start having lung and inhalation problems. When you're eating an imbalanced diet that's way too sugary, that can fuck up your blood sugar, give you cognitive issues and diabetic issues. Like, there's an ask for you to start thinking about yourself. And rather than being self-interested, this person has no problem taking from you. And as long as you're giving to them, they really don't fucking care. They are in survival mode as well as you are in survival mode. And you making some new choices in the third quarter of 2025 are going to be profound. We got the moon. This is you. This is exactly what you are like. This is your energy. Working through your subconscious and just recognizing all this wonderful love and nurturance that you give to everybody else. It's been bastardized. It's gotten you into trouble. It's put you into positions where you are overgiving to people that don't give any kind of reciprocity. You are becoming the priority this year, and this person, this situation, this energy will stop at nothing to try and find anything to latch onto you. But that's why I keep saying, keep moving forward. Like, this is a huge shift in your reality if this is what you truly want. What do we got? Nine of Cups. Maybe you're the one who needs to be happy. No longer focusing so much on how other people are happy. This person ain't happy. They're only happy when you're sad. Like, that's a very narcissistic, selfish energy that you have been placating to. Why? Because it's so easy to do. You're very empathetic, and this person just knew that they could. You were taken advantage of. What else do we have right here? We got the Empress. Like, this is a choice. This is you recognizing, do I want to be emotionally fulfilled, taking care of myself, and have a life that is full of growth and prosperity, or do I continue to want to have somebody leech off of me? Like, if someone's not paying their bills, kick him out of the house. If somebody is not showing you respect, you don't need to talk to them. Like, I think there's going to be a lot of Cancerians that are just going to be making some very thoughtful, clear-minded decisions just to move forward with your life. And it's not even the drama. This person would love the drama of you blocking them or the drama of you gossiping about them. They would love the drama of thinking that you're constantly talking about them behind their back. But there's something very calm as you go into the later part of the year. It's sort of like, I don't think about you at all. And this person, whatever they used as fuel, they won't get it from you anymore. You're no longer their source. Seven of Cups. Like, there's a little bit of this we'll have some more Neptunian energy as we go towards the fourth quarter, but like this is you finally being able to use your energy to dream what you want into existence. Because this other person, they've constantly left you on edge, constantly made you feel worried that you're doing the wrong thing. This person has gotten off by making you think that you are not worthy, that you are not lovable. It's been a consistent nightmare. And here's the thing, people don't change, they just adapt. And while you would like to think that this person is capable of changing, they haven't. And I'll throw this one thing out there for you, for any of you where your lizard brain is kicking in. You need to be the change. And if this person can follow through and meet you with where you are at, sure, there's hope. But until this person starts pouring their own energy into themselves and start taking care of themselves, there's nothing you can do for them. Like, you're their crutch and you are their drug. And I'm hearing no more. Like, again, if this is resonating with you, you want out of this. As we go into Q4, which is October, November, December, Neptune goes back into Pisces for a little while. And that could be tempting to kind of go back in and hide underneath what's going on and go inward, but we have displacement. Um, there's a big decision. You're going to be asked to make a huge decision. And it's one of these things where you'll just see the person for who they are. Like an emotionally mature person, they won't necessarily be happy with a decision, but they'll honor it. But an emotionally immature person, they'll slash your tires, they'll smash your window, they'll deface your property. Like, you ever heard of like a lease breaking party? Sort of this this feeling like somebody hates the place that they live in, and so they do so much damage that even the deposit couldn't even cover it. There's a chance, and I'm not saying it'll be literal for you. I think this is a little bit of subconscious manufacturing of a fear, that maybe you should actually see the person for who it is that they actually are. I feel like Cancer, this is going to be a huge year of relationship growth. And even if this isn't necessarily a romantic or a friend or a family member, coworkers can behave this way too. There are bosses out there that will, they'll speak with their honey lips and they'll get you all excited about a project, but then they don't pull their weight and they make it your fucking problem. Like, and in the case of that example, it's like, you know what? I'd rather just have to deal with struggling with a mortgage payment or a rental payment than having to put up with you. And I'm not saying, again, that's just an extreme example. You're just seeing people for who it is that they are, and that you've actually conquered way more than I think you've given yourself credit. And card of displacement, got the Four of Wands. I did see it originally in this anti-celebratory energy. Like, I feel like the fear has been going back on a promise. The fear has been, you put on this look as though everything is fine. Again, like, my ex-husband's energy is really showing up in this particular reading, just to give you guys some thoughtful examples as to how you can personally learn how to overcome, because you're not the only one who's gone through this. My ex-husband and I, like, we went on trips together. We spent a lot of money putting on the show, like, hey, everything's great. We went from Canada to California and everything's fine. And then till one day, boom, I'm moving out. A lot of people were very surprised, and I was really overwhelmed having to explain to everybody why I had to leave him. And at the end, it's not their business. Um, whatever thing that you have displayed to the world, the only person you need to worry about is yourself. You're not disappointing your parents, you're not disappointing your friends. Like, the only person you're at risk of disappointing during this time is yourself. And if you are the greatest priority in the world, well, what choice do you have? What do we have at the top of here? Death. You're going to be going through a mass transformation towards the end of 2025. Don't fear the Reaper. Like, literally, don't fear the reaper. You've been asking for this change, and there's a lot of hope within this card, Seven of Swords. It does require you to be mindful about what lies you told yourself, but also recognizing that even though this person might have had some cute little blinky eyes about the situation, just because they're cute, it doesn't mean that they're nice or good for you. They just know how to put on a show in order to tug at your heartstrings. But you've grown so much over this year. Like, I feel like you've gone through a lifetime of difficulties in a short period of time. Like, people will endure marriages for decades, and I'd like to think that you're only enduring this for only a year so that you can finally get on with your life and reclaim your life. You have surrendered so much of your money, your autonomy, and your amazing, valuable love on the wrong person. What else do we have here? Three of Cups. Like, there is a sacrifice you will need to make, and that's the sacrifice of a company. Interesting. Sacrifice of a company, of a culture, of a community that were never interested in your growth. There's an ask within here that there are people who've been meddling in your own business just to keep you stuck because other people are way too self-involved in their trauma drama that they weren't helpful to you. There's a huge consideration during this time who is a helper and who is a hinderer. But this entire year, Cancer is going to be designed so that you can just move forward with your life. Don't look back. Don't pass go. Don't collect the $200. It's just not going to be worth it. As we wrap up this reading and want to have just one thing that you can focus your time and energy on for 2025 Cancer, I have adenine and thymine, duality, contrast, trust, and balance. You're learning how to honor your own inner unity, recognizing that your intuition is correct and it should be honored, that you shouldn't be sacrificing your sense of self just to make other people happy. Because the more you continue to sacrifice your sense of self, the other person says thank you and they take that for granted. You are a remarkable human being who's being freed from a slavery template so that you can learn how to thrive and you can learn how to grow. It just starts with you learning how to trust yourself and find balance so that you can feel confident moving forward in your career, moving forward with family, and in your relationships and on the spiritual path. I'm just saying, wow, my God, Cancer. However it is that 2025 manifests for you, I sincerely hope that this reading helps. Check out the timestamps. Check out the timestamps below. There are way more messages to help support you along the way. Thank you so much for sticking around. And if you did find this helpful, please make sure to like the video on the way out. And if you need some support, and if you need some support for the year 2025, I highly recommend that you subscribe. And until I see you at the next one, I'm wishing you peace, love, and all the berries. Bye. All right, Scorpio, let's have a look at what the year 2025 could be for you. I do feel as though Scorpio, there's going to be an aspect of your life that could be wrapping up or coming to an end. Um, it could have a lot to do with how you relate to friends and family, but I suspect for some of you Scorpios out there, I feel like there's an end of a lifestyle, whether if that is ending a partying lifestyle or just a way of being. I feel like you're going to be welcoming in a lot of shifts moving forward through this year. So I'm going to be setting up this reading and breaking it down into quarters. And based on those different quarters, we'll have a look at some of the astrological aspects that could be influencing you at that time. And we'll kind of get an overall idea of how the universe could be guiding you and mentoring you over the course of this particular year. But it looks like overall, your theme for 2025 Scorpio, you are so protected at this time. And I think there's going to be also a call to attention of what is worth protecting. I do have the egg surrounded by a protective family. I was saying a little bit earlier that the way you relate to friends and family, almost this idea of who's got your back, who do you find worthy of protection, I feel like there could be some, it's like a I don't want to say change of the guard, but it's actually more like changing allegiances. So to start things off, we're going to have a look at the first quarter of the year, so January, February, March. And as we enter into the year, the North Node will be going through a shift into Pisces. And whenever we have a shift within the North Node, it happens once every 18 months. And it gives a chance for us to start thinking about how it is we wish to get onto our own path of destiny. Pisces is the end of the astrological calendar. It's also a time for reflection, but taking in all of the lessons of a particular cycle you might be on. There's a real ask, Scorpio. There's something that I feel as though is within your field of vision. Until you're willing to see it, until you're willing to acknowledge it, you could end up having a lot of interference making the making 2012 blah, blah, making it difficult to even communicate as you go into 2025. What's going to be the theme for the first quarter? Grief. There's a reason why you're going to have a difficult time starting off the year. I'm sorry. Like, there could be I've talked about letting go of a lifestyle. I hope it doesn't end up being this particularly extreme, but sometimes when we have to give something up, like say an addiction, for example, it's kind of one of these things where, if somebody drinks and drives and they total their car, it's sort of one of these feelings where, oh, yeah, okay, I feel very ungrounded in this energy. I'm sorry, Scorpio, but we got to go here, apparently. It's one of these feelings where you got into an accident, you totaled the car, you were able to walk away from it, nobody got hurt. But I get the sense, Scorpio, you're getting a lot of warning signs from the universe. You have to make a course correction. You have to make a change. There's something that you have been dedicating yourself to, that it's making you feel scared. It is making you feel extremely ungrounded. I feel cold. I feel chilly. I feel as though I'm losing my voice. You are not going to have a great start to 2025 in many cases. And I'd love to be all love, light, and happiness. But there's something, whether if this is a past issue that you haven't had a chance to healthfully face, or something that could be cropped up to the surface in order to get you to start facing your emotions. Whenever we get stuck in any kind of addictive behavior, it's because we're having a difficult time tuning in to the sad part of ourselves. And oh, it can be very challenging to tune in to some grief, especially if you're afraid of losing someone or afraid of losing something. Like, this feels very precious, but at the base, as we dive in, we'll be as gentle as possible, because I really feel like there's some profound changes you're being invited to start making in your life, to set that intention. But in order to bring in the light, there is a need to face the darkness. So before we really dive in here, I really do need to connect with you for a second, Scorpio. I need you to have your feet firmly on the ground. Try to breathe. You have a lot of energies that are trying to interfere with you, that are getting in the way. And some of the stuff that you're going to be learning is going to have to involve letting go of people's opinions about you, having to recognize that not everybody has your back at this time, especially if you have had unconditional loyalty to a partner, or unconditional loyalty to a family or a community, and they're not worthy of that. Like, you will know if this is you or not. But if they're not worthy of your protection, who is worth looking out for, and who will look after you? I feel like there's been this little quid pro quo kind of thing going on. All right, here we got our death rebirth, but this is in the form of judgment, letting go of someone that you judge, but it's more that you need to let go of a version of yourself, especially if we're talking lifestyle. Like when we go to change habits, you can't stick around with your drinking buddies if all they want to do is, pound back a bunch of beers, and they don't really enable your sobriety. Like, that's one example of this particular energy, but let's get a few cards here. We got Seven of Pentacles, like, reaping what you sow. Like, really, I feel as though this is what's going on. You're not actually not really happy about the things you've been manifesting, and it's as though one thing after the next leads to one loss after the next. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be the loss of a person or a loss of a loved one. It's just sort of like you pour all this money into a project and you don't get paid. You buy the house only to find out it has a leaky roof and you don't have the money to pay for that. You go against your intuition, that a tree crashes down. You try your best to power through, a window gets broken in. Like, it's as though you've been trying to go one step after the next, but your eyes have been closed. And it's sort of like you have the ability to see, so why are you behaving as though you are blind? Here we got King of Cups. You got a lot of people around you who are manipulating you, who are getting off by being withholding, and they're trying to rile up your emotions in order to get you to prove that you love and care about them. Like, let's get a third card here. Knight of Wands. Like, you are divinely protected at this time. Through this whole year, you will be divinely protected, but it is contingent that you are willing to start feeling your emotions. There's a few different zodiacs so far for 2025 where the divine is really trying to settle in and give you a chance to start feeling how it is you genuinely feel. You've got somebody around you, Scorpio, that they have no problem keeping you in a grief cycle. Even if you start feeling better, it's as though they want to talk about bad things on the news to bring you down, or they want to bring up something from the past that maybe you did that upset them. This is someone who enjoys keeping you stuck in a narcissistic, toxic cycle. And they feel as though you should be thankful that they are constantly reminding you of this. Like, I don't like this energy. I don't like how your year is starting off. This feels like a little bit of a rough start. And with the Knight of Wands over here, there's a little bit of a risk of you just jumping back into a bad habit because it feels safe. It feels secure. Your sacral chakra feels very unsettled during this time. And while the sacral chakra can be associated with sexuality, it also is connected to our ability to flow with reality and being able to bring creative ideas into the world, but there's something that is blocking your ability to make money off of your projects. Like, I'm constantly trying to swallow because it's not just your sacral chakra. Your solar plexus has been blocked out. Your higher heart chakra feels locked in, and I have a constant tickle within my throat chakra. I feel all of these energies are pulling on you, they're compressing you. I'm sorry to say, Scorpio, you're in an extraordinarily manipulative situation. Now, the reason why this will be coming up in this particular reading is to let you know that there is a chance for a rebirth. We do see that with the judgment card right here, but it does require you to let go of a version of yourself that's okay with being used, that's okay with being abused. Um there seems to be a start off to 2025. I feel like this might be a bit of a repeat cycle. I'm very heavily drawn to the number 22 that's sitting on the card of grief. And I feel like this isn't news to you. In some ways, I feel as though you try off the new year with an upbeat attitude. It's going to be different this year. And then the same shit just keeps coming up. It feels like there's someone who's been around you for the last few years. You try to renew your relationship with them, you try to give them another chance. Um, but it's even if you're not necessarily into substances, you can be addicted to relationships. But as we move forward through the first few months of 2025, it feels dense. It feels like you're really second guessing yourself. I do feel as though you have some blinder on your third eye, but it's only because you're having a difficult time looking up and seeing a person for who they are. I've repeated this over and over again. 2024 was a year of observation. Can you just see people? Can you see your life outside of yourself? If your life was a movie, like what kind of movie would it be? Is it a rom-com? Is it a drama? Is it a horror story? Like, I don't feel like you can have a sense of humor with what's going on. Like, I feel as though you want to give this situation one last row. All right, we had a difficult time. Let's learn from our lessons. But and then you hurry up and repeat a cycle. Like it feels very dense. Like even in my shoulders, I feel locked up. You are having a very difficult time navigating because you have so many eyes on you and so many judgmental eyes on you. The divine is trying to almost squeeze you into a situation so that you can kind of pop out through the side through the tension. You're being asked to really trust the process, especially if you are this divinely protected. As we go into the second quarter, where we got April, May, and June, there's a few things going on within the social planets and the outer planets. Jupiter will be getting into Cancer. Jupiter's about expansion. In some ways, letting go of a previous version of ourselves, and in some ways, opening ourselves into a reality that we truly want. But with it being in a water sign, like it could get very moody for you. And the moon is represented in Cancer, and it's about our subconscious. Everybody who is going to be impacted by Jupiter entering into Cancer, it requires them to have a very deep look at their subconscious. You've got so many things going on in the external that keeps you wound up tight that you don't have a moment to really think about what's going on and how you actually feel about a situation because you've been overcommitted to something that is full of drama, empty promises, and just pure manipulation. I really do not like this King of Cups right here. This individual makes me feel nervous and nauseated. But with the second quarter, we also have Neptune entering into Aries. Neptune is about your subconscious and your dream state. I feel like you've been stuck underwater with something, and in many ways, having a difficult time breathing, a difficult time connecting with yourself. But with the shift within the second quarter, as you go into the spring with and then end off with the summer solstice, it feels like decision time, but it's because you're being encouraged with Neptune going into Aries to really start dreaming about a life that has a foundation. You might have been a little bit airy-fairy or sort of like hiding underneath all the turmoil. You haven't necessarily felt good about trying to get yourself out of a difficult situation. Got the card of displacement. This is a little bit of a picture of what Q2 could end up looking like. You say no to somebody, they trash your house. You allow someone the keys to your car, they trash your vehicle. You tell a roommate, get the fuck out of my house, and they guilt trip you into saying, well, I'm going to be homeless and it's all your fault. There's a blame shifter around you that has taken advantage of your supreme kindness. So let's get some cards. Let's dive into whatever the second quarter is going to be. Like, The readings for this year have been really all over the place. So far it seems like Libra and Scorpio is going through some very dense emotions, but a lot of these sort of like these orchestration of events are really designed to help you get out of just toxic situations. Like, you know that there's something about your life that you do need to put away, and I feel as though there's some hesitation. Like, well, what will people think of me? Well, where else would I go? Like, if this isn't somebody guilt tripping you into yeah, this isn't somebody guilt tripping you by putting them out on the street, getting them to get their own collective shit together. This could also be you being worried that you're going to be alone, worried that you won't be able to make ends meet if you walk away from this situation. But we got a Four of Pentacles. Like, I feel as though you've been holding back. And it's sort of like you're budgeting, and I feel as though you're budgeting your energy mostly because you have been over dedicated to so many people who are contributing to your dysfunction. You may be struggling with debt during this time as well. We got King of Swords. Like, there needs to be, I'm hearing a harsh conversation, but the harsh conversation does need to begin within yourself. Three of Wands, and let's get one more card here. Five of Swords. Like, there seems to be something that's culminating and coming to a head within the second quarter of 2025 for you, Scorpio. You need to have an honest conversation with yourself because you're looking for a way out, a way through, an opportunity, a chance for you to get onto the road of your happiness, the road of your destiny, health, prosperity, all these good things in life that we truly desire. And it's an ask for you to start thinking about, what have you been rejecting? Like, when we have the Five of Swords, it can be very competitive. And I feel as though you've had a very competitive person around you. And it could be competing for who has the most grief, who has the most trauma, who has the most burdens. Like, it could be all kinds of different things. But there's a need for you to honest conversation. You've been trying to have it with this person, but they won't hear it out. Like, they have the emotional maturity of a child. And again, they blame shift. They make it your problem. They blame you for their grief. Like, they say you're part of the problem. Like, there's all kinds of different ways this person has been manipulating you. There's something about going into the latter part of the year where it's like, wait, if I want to make the change, I got to figure out what it is I truly want and desire. Because a version of you is still going out of your way to say, I can't do that. Like, I've already made it, I've already gone this far. What's the point of going back? I don't want to be perceived as being weak. I don't want to look like a loser. Like, there's some negative self talk that is holding you back during this time, Scorpio. And the divine really wants you to make sure that you are not defeating yourself. You need to defeat an external energy that's keeping you trapped. Going into the third quarter, where we have July, August, and September, Uranus is going into Gemini, and whew, there are some mass awakenings that will be going on during that period of time. Like, a lot of people will be waking up, including you. If you are kind of sick and tired of what's going on, it's okay to feel sick and tired. But I think some of the things that you're struggling about is you don't really know why this situation's bad, and you don't even know why you keep remagnetizing it. Maybe this person isn't the first time you've dealt with this. Maybe this is a type of persona you keep finding yourself invested into. It's like, how did I get this person after I just left them? Like, why? It's sort of like if I left my ex-husband and I'm wondering how the hell did I start dating my ex-husband in a different body. Does that make a little bit of sense? But for the third quarter, a lot of people are waking up, and it's going to be a very quick and fast. People are going to start communicating with each other. I think during this time, you are going to be discovering your soul tribe, even if that means other people who've actually been going through the same thing as you. I feel like you're going to have some divine support, and they're going to help you get a brand new perspective. If you've been locked in this never ending cycle of pain, hurt, and feeling as though you've been loyal to the wrong team, loyal to the wrong side, with this grand awakening that will be happening in the third quarter of 2025, you will be getting some help. And even if it is like, one or two people within your circle, this could be a coworker or some weird ass thing, talk to a stranger on the street. It is quite incredible with people that we don't know, and sometimes they just say the right thing that makes you go, yeah, you too? You also struggle with that? Like, you're going to start realizing you're not alone in this, and that there are many different ways to work past this energy. But what do we have over here? Eight of Cups. Why are you not walking away? Like, Eight of Cups, Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords is about like holding yourself back, but there's an opening right here where you can just move forward. The eight goes up to the nine, and the Nine of Cups is about pursuing your own sense of happiness. Who have you been trying to please while partying? Who are you trying to protect you so that you don't feel isolated, so you don't feel alone? Like, this could be an unhealthy family dynamic. Well, blood is thicker than water, but, why is my dad so mean to me? Like, take it as it resonates with how it makes sense for you. But at the top, we got the wheel. Like, there's some real destiny at play. It has a lot to do with this Uranus shift, and this is like a grand planet. A lot of things are going to be changing for people between 2025 and 2026. Our ability to instant manifest is coming up to the surface, and it's one of these things where you more than likely want to have a healthy family, a healthy relationship, just to, can I just have the good thing and go on with my life knowing that I can have a supportive person next to me? Like, what a concept. First of all, you need to ask for it. There's something about asking for a healthy relationship. You need to make the intention, even right now as you're listening to this message. What do you want in partnership? What else do we have right here? Got the card of strength. And some of this is a little bit of the answer. What is it about yourself that you're not willing to have a look at? When we aren't willing to look at the shadow, we shy away and we start blaming other people. We can judge others. But everyone in our reality is nothing more than a reflection of ourselves. If you come across something unsavory that somebody said, well, you can blame them for being rude, or you can ask, how is this a reflection of me? Am I like that? Just because they behave differently doesn't mean that the energy isn't the same. Got the card of justice. And it may feel as though justice has abandoned you. Like, hmm, I feel like your sense of justice needs to shift. Especially if you've been stuck in a tug of war with somebody who is competitive with you. This could be a sibling, um someone who always tries to one up you or prove how they have bigger problems than you, or they try to belittle your genuine concerns. Like, 2025 is all about transparency. Can you just see this person for who it is that they are, trying not to project the hope that they might change? There's a semblance of peace and acceptance that you can look forward to, but because you are also going to be coming across faded connections, like I said, you could be talking to a stranger at the grocery store and they just say one little thing that just bing, it enlightens you. Gemini is quick witted, fast communication, and it's going to be very instantaneous. Like, I have this image of popcorn where it won't take as much energy for the awakening to happen, but if you ignore it, you're gonna have to wait for the next time it crops back up again. You're being encouraged to get out of a habit of complacency. Going into Q4, where we have October, November, and December, Neptune does go back into Pisces for a period of time. And while you may have started to feel a little bit more righteous during this time, like, no, I'm going to make a better foundation for myself. I'm going to get back onto the road of my destiny. I'm going to make a life for me that makes me feel good. But when we regress back into the Piscean energy within Neptune, you are at very high risk of falling back into an old habit. Like, the universe is trying to put you through a cycle, a grand cycle, to help break you free from something. What's the energy going on? Risk. Like, I'm hearing without risk, there is no reward, but there's going to be an ask for you to go against your natural sense of protection. I don't want to say safety, your natural sense of protection to stay in the status quo, to stay, I don't know, it's sort of like an illusion that you've put out to the world. Are you willing to go against your own self-image? Does that make any kind of sense? What kind of guidance would Scorpio benefit from in the fourth quarter of 2025? I'm going to cut, but I do have the card of the sun. This is getting out of masking and pretending everything is okay. Because I'm looking at all this. You're not okay. Why are you pretending you're okay? You do more than likely have people around you that can support you, but they can't help you if you don't ask. We got the Four of Swords. There is a chance for healing and rest, and I'm hearing divine reflection, but you have to get rid of this energy that's interfering with your ability to connect with your own energy. This situation has no problem keeping you hyped up and in some ways hopped up on their bullshit. Because as long as you keep coming back, it feeds the situation in a negative way and it keeps you complacent. And there's a real ask, Scorpio, for 2025. What's more important to you? Looking good to a community and still feeling like shit, or maybe moving forward and feeling good about yourself and taking on a new path. What do we have right here? Queen of Swords. Like the King and Queen of Swords are both showing up from Q2 to Q4. You need to have an honest conversation first with yourself, then you have to have an honest conversation with whatever this is. It's very cold, very decisive, but I feel as though the divine is giving you an opening here. Page of Wands, and you're just supposed to see how the person reacts. This can happen at any point during the year, but I feel like as though this is all going to culminate into one big, huge crescendo of bullshit. If you're actually honest with this person about what's going on, how do they act? Do they act like a child? Do they push it back onto you? Because if they are, why are you entertaining someone who's not on your emotional level? Let's get a third here. Yeah, okay. We got the Knight of Pentacles. Like, this could be something to do with work, but your day-to-day routine. This also feels as though there needs to be a shift within your home life. I feel like you are walking into stability. That is the real good news that I'm seeing here. Because you need to know that you can communicate early on within a relationship. Even if you go through a breakup in the first quarter and you decide to pursue another relationship in the latter part of the year, like the divine really wants you to just be honest, see how they react, not to get a rise out of them. That's what this person does. But you being honest and seeing how they react. Are they willing to hear you out, willing to see things from a neutral perspective, or do they gossip about you, blame shift, and try to blame you and make it your problem? Scorpio, you're being gifted a chance for 2025 to have a healthy sense of ownership about the kind of life that you want to live for yourself. You've allowed other people to dictate your life, especially if this is a family habit. And you have divine permission to go forward. You have divine protection. But there's an ask for you to stop siding with the enemy just because you're worried about what the enemy thinks about you. Like if you thought about someone you consider to be the enemy, whether if it's the enemy in the news or like a movie or a TV series that they're the enemy, like even if you want to craft this sort of it's not the word hypothesis. It's just sort of like, why would you side with the enemy? Like, I just keep coming back to this. Like, why are you being an apologist for someone who's mean? Why are you apologizing on behalf of this person, especially if this person's gone out of their way to be rude and be mean and you've had to clean up the mess after them? Why are you tolerating this? They're like, being able to put aside a lifestyle is no easy feat, but I feel like 2025, the decision will become abundantly clear. You may have been waffling for the last few years if you want to continue with this or move forward. And I feel like the divine wants to give you a clear and decisive answer because I feel like you need a brand new beginning. I love this. We have the hydrogen atom, consciousness, beginning, faith. You're being invited to have a little bit of faith that you can actually manifest a brand new reality, recognizing that the lifestyle choices that you have made have led you up until this point. Doesn't make you a bad person. It creates the story of your own personal journey. If you want something brand new, just ask for it. The divine is here to take your request. Take some time, take a few minutes, write down on a piece of paper what kind of life would you like for yourself a year from now? Who are you with? Who are you in love with? What kind of reality are you enjoying? Because if you can set the intention to create a new life for you, the divine will be able to orchestrate everything in the right order to get you exactly what it is that you want, need, and desire. Just saying. Wow, Scorpio. Well, however 2025 manifests for you, damn, I sincerely hope that this helped. Um, check out the timestamps below. There are plenty of other readings there that are going to be supportive and helpful for you as you learn how to plan out the 2025 year. If this resonated, let me know. Like, send me a comment. And if you need some support going into this new year, I highly recommend that you subscribe. I'd be more than honored to help you along on this journey. And until I see you at the next one, I'm wishing you peace, love, and all the berries. Bye. All right, welcome in Pisces. Let's see what is in store for the Piscean collective for the year of 2025. I do get a sense as I tuned into your energy off camera. I feel like Pisces, you're going to be able to finally get some closure on a home and family situation, especially if you're able to start recognizing how people have just been playing games with you, and it's even more obnoxious because they're not even playing by their own rules. There's some hypocrisy that as much as as much of a pain in the ass, whatever 2024 was for you, like, I feel like you're going to develop a sense of humor, a lot of acceptance, and you will be able to move forward and start making some more autonomous decisions. So, I'm going to be breaking down this reading into financial quarters, and we'll be having a look at the astrological aspects that could be impacting you for different parts of the year. But overall, Pisces, I got the card of survival. And that does make a lot of sense, finding closure in a home family situation, especially if you shacked up with someone, you married someone, or you went into a job situation just in the name of making sure I can pay the bills, or feeling as though you could be lovable or you could be safe. But for those of you, especially if children are involved, there's something very uncompromising about 2025 that you're going to be able to finally elevate and feel comfortable taking control. For the first quarter of the year, January, February, and March, we are having a north node shift into your sign. And Pisces, you get the honor of being the last in the zodiac. The first shall be last and the last shall be first. But this frequency is all about enlightenment. You've been there, you've done that, you're seeing through a lot of the lies and the illusions. And when you're willing to accept that, there's something about your path change that will help change your overall paradigm. Blah, 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 so you can get back onto the path and start making more conscientious decisions for yourself and for the ones that you truly love and care about. What's the overall energy? Dominance. Oh, oh. Just drink this in for a second. Like, you may have been somebody who second fiddled yourself, and you're like, you know what, you can make the decision. I don't want to step on your toes. That's a very survivalist mentality, and I will show you because I see it. We got the card of wrath underneath. It's very difficult for us to speak up, speak our true emotions if we are cohabitating or in contact with somebody who has a short temper. They've got their own depression, mental health issues, and it's even more challenging if we have been placating to people who don't care about us equally as we care about them. It's a bit of the wounded empath. You know, you're so good at feeling into other people's emotions that you sometimes forget yourself along the way. However, 2024 went for you, I have encouraged everybody to really observe what had happened to them throughout the entire calendar year. 2024 was very rough for a lot of us. I know Pisces, you've been through quite a myriad of struggles, but as you're going into 2025, there's this turnabout where you're going to feel comfortable taking charge. I keep turning off the reactions and they come back on. Thanks, Apple. But we got the card of strength underneath here. Facing your fears. When we're unable to speak up to people that we're scared of, we regress. We don't find ways to communicate with people. We second fiddle and we accidentally compromise ourselves. But here's the thing about the card of dominance. Really, it's to help somebody out. This feels a lot like a dog that I used to have where ticks are a genuine health hazard to any kind of mammal. Lyme disease is a serious issue. But I remember with this dog, he had a tick and it was buried into his gums. It was disgusting. It was scary. But I knew right off the bat, if I didn't attend to getting rid of this tick immediately, it could have made my dog much sicker. So, despite him, grasping at me, despite me going, ew, 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 gross, 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 this is awful, 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 it was for his own good. I was able to get the bug out. I was able to spare him any kind of sickness. And there's something about this dominance where other people try dominating you as a game, but you're turning this around and realizing, wait, there is a chance to show love and compassion because it needs to get done. What do we have at the top over here? Six of Wands. It is showing up in its reversal. And this is getting out of the head games, getting out of this idea of false victory. You've had people around you who they just claim that they won. They are pretending that they are the winner. But if 2024 was about observation, 2025 is about transparency. And there's something about a person that you might have second fiddled yourself to, and you're just going to see them for who they are, realizing this person, they'll give themselves a trophy for anything, and it's actually quite meaningless. What else do we have right here? Three of Pentacles, especially if this is someone that abandoned you, somebody, I got someone trying to get my attention right now. There's Maya. But there's a I feel like you got this attention seeking energy, and it could be because there is something legitimately going on, but I feel like, there's a little bit of support from the doggos at this point. And maybe just embrace a few distractions. My dog wanted to play for a little bit. I do like that we have the Three of Pentacles right here. Like, I feel as though someone's true colors will be showing up to the surface. And again, like, my dog, he just interrupted me. He just wanted to play a game. He had a lot of this pent up energy. He wanted a lot of attention. You may notice a lot of these attention seeking energies just cropping up to the surface. They want to collaborate with you. They want to have some of your juicy energy, but there's something about, I was talking about trying to remove a tick from one of my pets so that they can stay happy and healthy. There's something about recognizing whoever this is or whatever this person that you might have submitted yourself to, somebody that you have allowed them to make decisions in your life, especially if they made decisions that really uprooted your life. That could also apply. But let's get one more card here. Yeah, there we go. Card of Temperance, hope, healing. There's something that's going to show itself within the first quarter of 2025, and it's like a job offer that it's it's not good for you, or a past partner or lover shows up and they want to work with you on something, and there's this hit within your intuition that I'm picking up that maybe a previous version of you would have gone for it. But there's something about the way that you've changed up how you want to live your life. And this is lackluster. It doesn't bring you the same kind of joy that a previous version of you would have had. You've had no choice over 2024 than to take control of your life and start being the author of your own happiness. And there's something that's culminating in the first quarter of 2025, not to haunt you, but to, in some ways, give you the win, to give you a chance to exercise something very uncomfortable for the greater good. It's going to be important during this time to really call on your angels to help make sure that you're retaining a healthy sense of balance. When we look at temperance in the shadow aspect, this is sand. This is an empty promise. This is something that has no long-term gumption to it. And it's a chance for you to wear the pants. It's time for you to captain the ship. And in theory, this should be a good opportunity. But there's this hesitation that I feel within your energy, Pisces. And it's just because you're unaccustomed to having to take the reins on something. You just don't want to be the jerk that abandoned you. And I'm here to say right off the bat, you're not being that person. As we're jumping into the second quarter of 2025, so we're talking about the months of April, May, and June. The outer planets, especially Neptune, will be shifting into Aries. Like, more than likely in your subconscious, in your dreamy state, Neptune is all about the daydreams, the way that you in some ways escape into your own reality. I always talk about Piscean energy. You're the iceberg, and sure, on the surface you see a hunk of ice, but underneath is an entire ecosystem. There's a lot of depth to you that you don't show to the world. And with Neptune going into Aries, there's something about just recognizing that, sure, there's a lot underneath the surface. Can you just honor that, but not allow it to overwhelm you? Because your dream state needs to have a sense of practicality so that you can finally move forward. There's a test in the first quarter designed to help build you into some emperor energy in order to get you ready for a new phase of your life. What's the overall energy for Q2? Growth. I love it. Like, you're learning to elevate, but you're not becoming your own enemy. Some of you might have been holding yourself back because, again, somebody who you allowed to be the authority in your life, they abandoned you, they double crossed you, they left you to your own devices, and it has more than likely been exhausting, hurtful, and quite frankly, humiliating. 2024 was not a great year for Pisces. And I am noticing the word 23, like while I'm saying 2024 and stuff like that, this has been a long-term thing that you have been struggling with. But whatever the divine is orchestrating for you, even just to kick off with 2025, so that you can find yourself, so that you can feel comfortable being a leader, especially if you traditionally identify as a female and you've been in accustomed to taking the secondary role in a relationship. Um, and that's difficult. If you tried speaking up for yourself in this past relationship and it didn't quite work out, um, it's as though you allowed yourself to feel defeated until it was the last straw. Like, this feels like the last fucking straw, but this is good. It is to help you grow up. It is to help you elevate, but not in a way that you're going to look down on people. The authority figures in your life you looked up to, they technically looked down on you, Pisces. And first of all, rude. But at the base over here, we do have the Knight of Pentacles. There's a chance for you to start adding like a practical shift in your day-to-day life. When we feel comfortable governing ourselves, it gets a lot easier to start making choices. And if there are people that we ask to join us along the way, if they're not willing to play fair, they're not willing to make nice, well, then we can dismiss them and thank them and go about our merry way. And there are other priorities. Like, I'm joking about my dog trying to get my attention in the middle of a reading. You might have a kid trying to pull at you, trying to get your attention while trying to listen to this reading. That's okay. It's learning that some things do need your attention and it is okay to offer your attention, but having the balance just to make sure that something isn't pulling on you just to drain you, and making sure that you're honoring a routine so that your animals and your dogs, and in some cases your plants, they can feel happy, comfy, knowing that they will be tended to because there's consistency in their life. What do we have right here? Ace of Wands. I think you're the only sign that I've seen an Ace of Wands. This is a brand new beginning. And I feel as though there's something about you finally stepping up and stepping into your own emperor, your own masculine authority in this particular situation. It's giving you permission to, in some ways, like, wait, I can do this? So that means I can use my power for good? Oh my God, what a concept. This person used their power for dominance, for control, for their own egotistical agenda. But when you're looking after for yourself and the things and people that you love, it's sort of like it's Pandora's box. You open one thing and it all comes pouring out. I feel like the second quarter of 2025, this is a very fresh, brand new beginning. And it's sort of like, I plan to use my powers for good. What else do we have? Four of Pentacles. Like, in some ways, I feel the energies that you're standing up to, they're like, they're gonna come back at you with some empty threats where it's like, "Well, I'm just not going to pay for this anymore." And it's like, that's not the threat that you think it's supposed to be. I'm sorry, Pisces, you've had a lot of manipulative people around you who think that they can just control you with money, control you with power, but there's something very cool about the second quarter. Like, I think I mentioned Jupiter going into Cancer, and if I haven't, sorry for repeating myself. Jupiter is about our expansion and becoming a newer, better, healthier version of ourselves. It is the card of growth right here. And with it transiting into Cancer, I believe that'll happen at approximately in June. That's growing into our psyche, becoming way more aware of our unconscious mind. You have been working so hard on your external to manage everything, to be the good person, to be the good coworker, to be the good wife, to be the good husband, be the good partner. Like, I'm trying to be good here, guys. Like, but you've been putting on a show and you've second fiddled yourself. But there's something about you finally standing up for yourself and you standing your own ground, and it's sort of like once the light is turned on, there's no going back. Three of Wands. Even though you're going to have some people who will find, there's a lot of disdain, I feel, from the Four of Pentacles. And you could personally be at risk of worrying that you might have just um, burned a bridge, burned an opportunity, especially if this has to do with literal income, but you're more than likely, I'm assuming, sick and tired of placating to energies that have no problem dangling a proverbial pork chop in front of you when it suits them. They want to keep you in a survival headspace, but you want to thrive, no longer wanting to be content with just the sense of survival. Moving into the third quarter, where it's July, August, and September, another one of the outer planets, Uranus, will be going into Gemini. And I've been seeing a huge mass awakening that's going to be happening within this period of 2025. A lot of people, they're just going to be more open and communicative about the weird ass spiritual shit that they technically believe in. A previous version of you may have been uncomfortable sharing certain aspects of you. Like, the silly example is if you were, say, raised a Christian and you decide to share with some Christian buddies of you that you're into tarot, and it's like, sinner. But now there's this feeling like you share with someone that you're into tarot and they're like, "Oh, you're into that too? That's awesome." Or they may even just say like, "Yeah, of course, I'm into that as well." Like, you're going to be discovering a new group, a new soul tribe, one that is way more in this new vibration. Quarter 1 with this card of dominance was is really about you breaking out of this paradigm, ending a particular cycle. This person, this situation, this lack mentality that you had embodied was holding you back. and it's kept putting you into situations where people had no problem pulling the rug out from underneath you, but you're growing. There's a lot of exponential growth going on for Pisces. What's the overall energy? Influence. Interesting. Um, yeah, it's sort of like I'm talking about awakenings, and I think you're going to start realizing how you might have had addictive behaviors, and that can be a little bit challenging because I've known people that they don't drink, and so they don't believe they could be an addict, but those same people, they could be addicted to being in relationships or addicted to shoe shopping, or even you can be addicted to your own religion if there's something about the go-to, the thing that makes you feel comfortable. Like when we're trying to pursue our happiness and our purpose, it should be something that we're naturally gravitated towards, something that feeds itself, and you find joy in it regardless if other people notice. But when we're in addictive behaviors, we become attention seeking, and we sometimes take on habits with other people so that we look like we blend in with the crowd. Given that I see there's a shift going on for you within your friendships, it's kind of like, this is me talking, my own personal experience. It's sort of like you realize you only have been going to Bible study just because you want a friend, not because you really want to learn about the Bible. It's just, well, I'm lonely. I don't seem to find anybody else who would be tolerant of me, but Christians are nice. Like, don't be offended. We're kindred. Like, but there's something about some kind of habit that you have been indulging in. This could be a lifestyle as well. And that was actually where you kept finding the toxic relationships. Yes, you can find toxic people in religion. Like people who are outside of religion, like, of course they're toxic. Like that's the way it's always supposed to be. But if you were brought up in a religion or a belief system, like you're a part of it. You don't really second guess it a lot of the time. There's something very innocuous that you're going to be discovering about yourself, Pisces, that once you recognize that you don't need anybody else's authority in order for you to feel happy, healthy, and giving yourself permission just to pursue your own passions. You don't have other people dimming your light. And there's something about your inner circle, it needs to change because the way that you are seeking out friendship, love, happiness, career, this could easily be business networking. They were actually contributing to the problem overall. We do have 8 of Wands. There's going to be a rapid shift going on in the third quarter of 2025. Like, I'm hearing good news and in some ways reconnecting with your inner child self. A chance for you to kind of jump up and jump into something. But there's a warning in here. We got the world. You have an option: either end the cycle or repeat the cycle. When we look at the world, think of it like watching a television show. Like, I love watching reruns. It is a guilty pleasure of mine. But when you go through an entire series and the series is over, you have a choice. Do you move on to a new television series or do you repeat the exact same story? And when you repeat the same story, it feels weird. You finished off the whole thing, there was resolve, they all lived happily ever after, and then you start back at episode 1 and then there's the tension. There's an ask for you to start thinking about what cycle do you wish to repeat and what cycle you wish to end, because you might be invited out to things that a previous version of you would resonate with. But there's a chance for you to start recognizing the pattern, recognizing, wait, if I jump back into this, everything that I resolved will just feel like it's starting all over again. And that doesn't feel comfortable to me anymore. That's how addicts get stuck in their cycles. And it's a little bit, I can say it's a trap. Like, it's just the divine trying to orchestrate something. You may be invited to some things that at first you're like, this seems like a cool idea, but then your instincts quickly kick in. And it's sort of like it triggers a sequence of events. What else do we have here? 4 of Wands. Like, this is a celebration. In some ways, marriage. I think the way that it's like the way you relate to what marriage is supposed to be to you. There's some healing in here. I want to get one more card. 5 of Cups. Being able to mourn the past. I think for some of you guys, oh, this is interesting. Some of you Pisceans, you're going to be meeting somebody brand new. And at first, there could be some concern that maybe they're like the previous person. And it's sort of like, well, if I just act like the Piscean person that I am today, I take a few risks at just honoring my boundaries, just telling it how it is. How does this person react? It feels like this feels like a really cool divine test. And no matter how this person reacts to you, it creates this shift and it creates a chain reaction of change. Let's move forward. I'm kind of curious to see how this is going to manifest because once we go into the fourth quarter, we got October, November, and December. Neptune is going to be doing a little bit of this sort of back and forth throughout the entire year. And during this period, Neptune will regress back into Pisces for a little while. So you've been underneath the water, doing the thing, kind of floating there, trying to figure out what you want to do in the subconscious. Then you get a few opportunities to come up to the surface and start realizing, hey, I could do something different. Hey, maybe I could try something like that. Take a few safe risks and expand yourself in a way that you were too timid to try earlier on. But with Neptune going back into Pisces, it's sort of as though you had a chance to run around and you need to go back into the hot tub and let yourself relax. Like, this is your natural place. This is where you get your downloads. There's something about really taking some time at the end of 2025 to really think about how you've changed. Like, you're being guided at this point. Write a note to yourself that you're going to be reading in 1 year. It's like, hey, Pisces, how are you doing? Write a note, write an email. We do have delay send options now on most email platforms, something that will just pop up. You'll forget about it, and it'll just be a nice, delightful surprise. But there's something about you connecting to your future version of yourself, asking questions. Hey, who was this person that I had to learn how to stand up to? Like, where is it that I have been growing? What kind of cool ideas have you been pursuing? Like, have you checked out this passion project? Is there something else that you've been looking into? There's all kinds of fun ways you can talk to your future self. And I think future self would be super delighted that you took the time to think about them. This is one meditative way to uh manifest new things into your life. There's a lot of growth going on here for you, Pisces, because we have the card of grief. And because I've been talking about a soul tribe, you're going to have so much support during this time. This isn't to grieve a loved one, it's actually to grieve a life that you once had. When we give up a lifestyle, we give up a community, even if they were toxic, there are still emotions that you need to feel. It's still important to honor what it is that you had gone through. But you're going to have, whether if this is a new partner, because I'm seeing a new soulmate that would be cropping up to the surface, that very celebratory energy, whether this is moving in together or just someone that's just gonna be a really good friend, supportive, soul tribe. Like, you're gonna be kind of at the center point of the awakenings in the third quarter. And you're gonna have it just feels so different. Like, I'm so confused and delighted for you. Like, my root chakra, there's a lot of healing going on in the root chakra, like a new established foundation. You'll have people who will honor what it is that you've gone through. Even if you've struggled with any sense of shame, guilt, frustration, despair about whatever this situation was, you're going to have a group of people that will surround you, support you, will be praying with you. And in some ways, I feel like you're going to be able to enter into your spirituality with confidence and actually feeling good that you did make the right decisions for yourself. Nine of Wands. I feel as though you're going to feel so empowered from this point forward because you have acknowledged some important emotions. When we're stuck in abusive situations, we ignore how we truly feel, all in the name of placating to the abuser. It is not easy to admit that maybe you could have been in an abusive situation. And more than likely, if I was to, put out a guess, it's that you didn't want to call someone abusive unless you were being genuine. You didn't want to be somebody who was spouting hyperbole, but there's something about this tribe, this group of people that they'll help you see the light. You have so much support. Like, even within this card, it's like I see you, I see a partnership, I see the past version of you, and we got 8 other crows up here and several more in the background. Like, there are like dozens of people who will be able to offer you space so you can feel comfortable, so you can finally let go of this. 5 of Wands, letting go of the chaos, letting go of how other people treated you and recognizing you have divine permission to be the authority of your life. You're not being the bastard when you're standing up for yourself. You just had a habit of second fiddling yourself to broken people who, they lacked confidence and they've got their own grief that they have not faced. You've been brave enough to face something very arduous, very hurtful. And by the time a year happens from now, you're going to be a completely transformed individual. Somebody who is hmm, emotionally mature, someone who is self supportive, and somebody who knows that even though they can take care of themselves, they can still have a supportive community to be there to offer them space to be themselves. God, Pisces, I'm so excited for you. What's the final message we need for you guys for the year of 2025? We have the Arcturian Stargate: peace, healing, gentleness, non judgment. Regardless if you believe the amazingness of whatever this channeled message is, the divine is promising you a path to peace, a chance for you to experience genuine healing. Forgive yourself for not understanding what it was you got yourself into. This is part of your journey. This is going to be part of your story. It's going to create a story of empowerment, and you're going to be able to pay it forward. You're becoming a leader. You are going to become a teacher. And you're going to be able to move forward feeling happy, healthy, and whole. I'm just saying. Wow, Pisces, whoever you are, damn, I sincerely hope that this helped. Make sure to check out the timestamps below. There is so much more information that you'll be able to glean from in order to help you get ready for this 2025 year. Make sure to like the video, otherwise on the way out. And if you need some support as you step into the new year, I highly recommend that you subscribe. I'd be more than honored to help support you on your own spiritual path. And until I see you at the next one, I'm wishing you peace, love, and all the berries. Bye.